Dear students, welcome to 12th class Biobotany. So we were discussing about the chapter Asexual and Sexual Reproduction in Plants. In this chapter we already covered vegetative reproduction in plants and also anther development, stages of anther development in plants. Okay, so last class we said that microsporogenesis. What is microsporogenesis? Formation of microspore from microspore mother cell is called microsporogenesis. From these microspores, finally pollen grains are developed inside this anther. Okay, so just revise it once again. Microsporogenesis. Microsporogenesis, what is this? From the sporogenous cells, you know what is sporogenous cell, and the sporogenous cells undergo mitotic division. They form microspore mother cell which is diploid, and this microspore mother cell undergo meiotic division which develops microspore. Okay, all microspores are formed, they are haploid, and this microspore they are formed tetrad, and this microspore tetrad they separate and they develop into pollen grains. Till now we have discussed all these portions. Okay, now we are going to check what is the structure of anther. So in this anther, the bag-like structure present on the stamen, you know structure of stamen. They have a stalk or filament, a stalk-like structure that is called filament, and a bag-like structure called anther. And they together form stamen. So stamen constitute male part of the flower, that is androecium. Okay, so we are going to check what is the internal structure of anther. So we have taken transverse section of anther. Then if you observe transverse section of anther, you will get this type of image. And anther, it is bilobe. What is mean bilobe? Suppose there are two anther lobes are present, so anther is bilobe, and dithecous. So this is one lobe and this is another lobe, and this lobe have cavities. That cavities are called microsporangium. So the first layer of anther wall, what is that? That is epidermis. Epidermis. So can you see here? This is this layer of cells. They form epidermis. This white color cells they form epidermis. Okay. So it is single layered. Epidermis is single layered. And what is the function of epidermis? We already told that protection. Epidermis, endothelium, middle layer, they protect inner tissues. So function of epidermis, protection. Okay, and these epidermises they repeat continuously because the inner tissues they enlarge. So to cope up with that, our epidermises they divide continuously or they divide repeatedly again and again. So these are the points about epidermis. It is very simple. Epidermis, it is the outermost layer of the anther wall, and their function is protection. They are single layered. Remember these points. Then after epidermis, the next layer is endothelium. Okay. So next we are going to look the next layer of anther wall, that is endothelium. So here you can see endothelium. So first of all epidermis, then endothelium, then middle layer, then finally tapetum. The second layer which is called endothelium. Okay. So endothelium, if you observe, you can see they are made up of radially elongated cells. Radially elongated cells. Okay, so somewhat like this. So these kinds of radially elongated cells are present in the endothelium layer. Okay, and on the inner tangential wall of these endothelium cells, they have cellulose thickening present. So inner tangential wall of these endothelium cells, cellulose thickening present, or sometimes lignin deposition also present. So this cellulose thickening which makes this layer hygroscopic. Okay, so endothelium layer, they are hygroscopic because they have cellulose thickening. This hygroscopic means they can absorb moisture or water content. Okay, so they can break and at the time of pollen release. So that's why this endothelium layer, they are hygroscopic. What is hygroscopic? It is the ability to absorb moisture or water content. So endothelium layer, they have that ability. But in case of aquatic plants and also some cleistogamous flowers and saprophyte plants, they have no this kind of differentiation. This kind of differentiation is not present in aquatic plants and cleistogamous flowers. Cleistogamous flower means the flower which do not open, which is always closed. Okay, and they do self pollination within that flower. So their endothelium, they do not have this kind of differentiation on their endothelium layer, and also in aquatic plants. Okay, but in case of endothelium, in one region this kind of thickening is absent. Usually endothelium layer, they have cellulose thickening, we already said, but in one region this cellulose thickening is absent. That region is called stomium. Okay, so here what is stomium? The stomium, it is the region of two sporangia. So this is the anther lobe, one anther lobe, this is another anther lobe, and each anther lobe, they have sporangia. This is one sporangia and this is another sporangia. This is another one and this is another one. An endothelial cell coming from this sporangia and endothelial cell coming from this sporangia. Okay, at the junction of these endothelium cells, they have no cellulose thickening. The thickening is absent. So that region is called stomium. So the endothelium cells present in stomium region, they have no cellulose thickening. Okay. Because of that, at the time of maturity, the anther dehiscent anther break. Okay, anther break off and pollen grains are released because of this nature of endothelium cells, because they are already hygroscopic and at the stomium region they have no cellulose thickening. So it help the anther to break or anther to dehiscent at the time of maturity, so they can easily release pollen grains. So these are the main points about endothelium. So endothelium layer, they are made up of radially elongated cells. On their inner tangential wall, they have cellulose thickening, which make endothelium layer hygroscopic. That means they can absorb water content. Okay, but in one region, the region, what is that? Stomium. In this endothelium cells, they have no cellulose thickening. Okay, so presence of hygroscopic nature and stomium region make anther to dehiscent or break freely at the time of pollen release. Okay, so these are about endothelium. Next we are going to study another layer. What is that? Middle layer. Okay, the next layer after endothelium, which is called middle layer. So this is epidermis, endothelium, then middle layer. Middle layer, they are made up of two to three layers of cells. after endothecium. Okay, and this size of this middle layer, they are ephemerals and they disintegrate and they are crushed after anther get maturity. Okay, so mainly their function is protection. We already told epidermis, endothecium, and middle layer, they help in protection, also helping dehiscence of anther to release pollen grain. So this middle layer also helping release of pollen grain. At the time of anther maturity, they crush and they disintegrate. Okay, so these are the main points about middle layer. Next layer, which is tapetum. Next we are going to discuss the innermost layer of anther wall, that is called tapetum. So where is tapetum here? You know epidermis, then endothecium, then middle layer, then finally tapetum. Okay, so tapetum is the innermost layer. And the development of tapetum completed at the time of tetrad stage of microsporogenesis. The development completed tapetum development completed at what time? Tetrad stage of microsporogenesis. So what is microsporogenesis? We already discussed. From the sporogenesis, microspore mother cell forms, and this microspore mother cell, they undergo meiotic division, they form microspore tetrad. Okay, at this time tapetum layer, it completes its development. The tapetum, which is formed from connective tissue, or maybe it formed from peripheral layers of anther wall. So tapetum may be developed from connective tissue or maybe peripheral layers of anther. Peripheral. So here you can see tapetum. From this here you can see connective tissue. From this connective tissue or maybe peripheral layers of anther, this tapetum develops. So they have dual origin. They may be developed from the connective tissue or they may be developed from the peripheral layers. And the tapetum, they may be the tapetum cells may be multinucleate or maybe with a single nucleus. They may have only one nucleus. The cells of tapetum, they may have nucleus, only one nucleus, or maybe sometimes they may contain many nucleus and they form polyploids. Okay, they form polyploids. And the tapetum, which give nutrients for the sporogenous cells and also microspore mother cell and microspores and pollen grains. So I told you the function of tapetum, give nutrition to developing pollen grains. Okay, so they give nutrients for microspore cells and also pollen grains. That is an important point. Nutrition. Then they also contribute for the formation of the wall materials of pollen grains like sporopollenin. Sporopollenin is a substance which is present on the wall of the pollen grain. Okay, and also pollen kit. Pollen kit also present on the pollen grain. So for the formation of pollen grain, for the formation of sporopollenin, and also for the formation of pollen kit, these both sporopollenin and pollen kit, they present on the pollen grain. Okay, so their formation takes place with the help of our tapetum cells. Okay, so sporopollenin and pollen kit, their development takes place with the help of tapetum cells, and also tapetum which helps in tapetum which also helps in formation of certain inhibitory enzymes. You know, pollen grains, when they reaches on the stigma, they try to germinate. If they are not reach on a right stigma, this pollen grain will be rejected. So how this mechanism works? Because the pollen grain, they produce some enzyme. That enzymes are responsible for the rejection of this pollen grain. So for the formation of those enzymes also, these tapetum cells, they helps. So tapetum, which is the innermost layer of anther wall, and which may be multinucleate or maybe with a single nucleus, they may be developed from the connective tissue or maybe peripheral layers, and they may be their major function nutrition for microspores and pollen grains and sporogenesis, etc. And also their development is completed at the stage of tetrad, and then they contribute for the development of the materials like sporopollen and pollen kit of pollen grain. Okay, so these are the main points of tapetum. Then next part, there are two types of tapetum vessel. Let's discuss what are the two types of tapetum. There are two types of tapetum vessel based on their behavior. Okay, so what are the two types of tapetum? The first one, secretory tapetum. It is also called parietal or glandular tapetum. And second type of tapetum, it is invasive tapetum or otherwise called periplasmodial tapetum. So what is tapetum? It is the innermost layer of the anther wall. What is the function of tapetum? It nourishes the microspore, pollen grains and microspore mother cell, etc. You already said that. Okay. So in case of secretory tapetum, they nourishes the pollen grains and also microspores and microspore mother cells in their intact cell structure. Okay, they do not disintegrate their cell. They maintain integrity of the tapetum cells and they nourishes microspores, pollen grains and microspore mother cells. You understood? So secretory tapetum means this tapetum, they maintain their cell integrity, they do not break their cell, and they nourishes our microspores and pollen grains and microspore mother cells, etc. So those cells are called secretory, those tapetum is called secretory tapetum. But in case of invasive or periplasmodial tapetum, what you can see, just difference. Here the radial walls of tapetum cell and tangential walls of tapetum cell that break. Okay, so what happens? The protoplast content of these cells leaks out. In invasive or periplasmodial tapetum, the tapetum cells tangential wall and radial wall breaks and the protoplast content of the cells, they leak out, and the protoplasm contents that contain nutrients and they nourishes, they form periplasmodium. Those protoplast content of tapetum form periplasmodium, and this periplasmodium nourishes the pollen grains, microspores and mother cells. So this is the difference between secretory tapetum and invasive tapetum. Secretory tapetum cells, they maintain their integrity and they nourishes pollen grains and microspores. But in case of invasive tapetum, their tangential wall and radial wall breaks and the protoplast content leaks out, okay, into this cavity, anther cavity, and they form periplasmodium, and this periplasmodium that nourishes the pollen grains and microspores. Okay, next, what are the functions of tapetum? Let's take. Then another part of anther, which is connective. You can see here in this picture, this connective, these are sterile tissues, they are surrounded by anther lobes. Okay, and this connective, which consists of mainly vascular tissues, and from this connective sometimes tapetal cells also develops. So these are main points about connective tissue. What is connective tissue? These are sterile tissue, they are surrounded by anther lobes, and which contain, this connective tissue contain vascular tissues, and from this connective tissue tapetum cells also develop. Then anther lobe, anther cavities, these are the anther cavities. Inside these anther cavities what present? Pollen grains are present. Okay, so this is about the transverse section of anther. We studied about anther. They have 4 layers. What are those? Epidermis, outer layer, then second layer endothelium, then third layer middle layer. These 3 layers, they give protection, and they also help to dehiscence of anther. They helps in dehiscence of anther for the release of pollen grains. Then fourth layer, the innermost layer tapetum, which helps in nutrition. Okay, so next we will study about detailed structure of pollen grain and other what are the parts of pollen grain, what is exine and indent, we will be studying next class.